Hey everybody, how's it going? I hope you're having a lovely day. Today I would like to go over what is in my opinion a horrendous scam that is being perpetrated by American Airlines and Citibank. There are many companies nowadays that try to trick you into agreeing to terms of service that you would not agree to by having it on page 30 of an end user license agreement, by emailing you and then pretending that somehow it's legally binding if you didn't read the email that you've opted into this new terms of service. Sometimes they will disable your ability to utilize the product that you have bought and paid for until you agree to a new terms of service. And in some cases, they will just lie about what you're getting to begin with. And today we're going to be focusing on the latter. So this is from American Airlines and Citibank. How many of you have been to a website where there was an offer as you check out to sign up for a credit card where they would offer you a reward if you signed up for a credit card? I've had this experience at Amazon. I've had this experience at Macy's. And admittedly, I'm the type of person that will do it. I will sign up for the card. I will get the $100 or $200 off, and I will immediately cancel the card. Sometimes I'm in the car and I just know I'm going to be stuck in traffic for 30 or 40 minutes because I've traveled at a stupid time. And when that happens, I will reserve that time to be on the phone and wait on hold for 30 minutes listening to crappy music so that I can cancel the card. It's worth it to me. I know I'm going to be spending that time anyway, so I might as well get $100 or $200 off. But I always cancel the card because I don't believe in having credit cards. I try to avoid debt at all costs. And above all, many of these cards have shitty annual fees. So let's go over this. So I decided that I wanted to take a flight, and I looked this up over here. And as you can see, if you go to look at a flight with American Airlines, they will offer you a $200 statement credit if you sign up for this card. It says up to a $200 statement credit. But even though they say up to, over here it says pay today, $472, card statement credit minus $200, total after statement credit, $272. So be clear here. It doesn't say up to over here. They're providing me a very clear equation of what the price is going to be. And they're saying that I'm going to be getting $200 off. Total after statement credit, $272. Now, I decided, like an idiot, that I was actually going to do this. Because again, to be clear, while Amazon has a lot of stuff wrong with them, they actually do give you the amount that they say they will if you attempt to sign up for a card. There are a lot of issues with Macy's, but when I went to Macy's, I actually did get the discount as a result of signing up for the card that day. I tried to sign up for the card, and I got this in the mail. It said, we're unable to approve your application. You have submitted multiple applications for credit. And again, this is really just so that I could get the discount. When you submit an application for credit, they lower your credit score. And since I don't use credit, I buy everything that I own with cash. I don't care. Credit scores are fundamentally useless to me. So they declined the card. All right, no big deal. I figure I'm not getting my $200 off. I pay full price for my flight. Now, check this out. I get this in the mail just a few days ago saying, welcome, your next adventure is on. I apparently have a new account from Citibank with a $17,500 credit limit, which is really weird because I just got this notice that I was declined, not only on the website, but also in the mail. I did not screenshot it at the time because I didn't think that I'd be making a video on this because I thought that this was not a scam, like an idiot. But when I did check out, it did say that they couldn't give me the $200. Now, one of the things that I found the most interesting about this, again, they did actually send me a physical card. This up here is my physical card that I have the ability to activate, and I actually did activate it. And what you could see over here, this is where the scam comes in. So I didn't get my $200 discount when I signed up for the flight. It said that I was declined the card. So I figured I have no card. I have nothing to worry about. But then I get this shit in the mail that I was this close to throwing away. Because again, I don't have an account at Citibank. I don't do any business with Citibank. I would imagine that this is spam. This is the type of thing that I would throw straight into my shredder because I have no business with you. But thank God I actually opened this one because as you can see over here, there's an annual fee of $99 for this credit card. Any credit card that is forcing you to pay money every year to use it, in my opinion, is a scam. Don't do that. There are so many credit cards where you do not have to pay an annual fee to use it, that this is a scam. Unless you have some sort of credit score that's close to a Johnson City, Tennessee area code and you're trying to build up your credit with a bank that will issue credit cards to people with very low credit scores, do not do this. So what they did is they sneakily signed me up for a card that I was declined for and hoped that I would not notice so that they could fee me $99 a year. But wait, it gets better. So when you log in, I actually decided to activate this piece of shit just so that I could look into this. It says that I have over here 3,565 total advantage miles. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, they said I would get a $200 credit on my flight. So again, here, the flight is $472 minus $200, $272. Let's take a look at this. So they said I have 3,565 miles. So I decided to try looking this up by looking at the exact same flight. If I try to book this flight, it costs $473. I guess they're rounding it up there from $472.60. And further, if I take a look and try to book it with miles, it'll say that I need 45,435 more miles in order to book the flight. So the flight is 49,000 miles plus $5.60. So I decided to do a little bit of algebra here, and I really burnt my brain to do it to figure out how much each individual mile is worth and what they gave me. So please do check my work here, as there is a chance that I am not as good at algebra as I think I am. So M equals miles. So 49,000 miles plus $5.60 is equal to $473 because that's what the flight would cost without the miles. So I do the math here. 49,000 M equals 467.4. A mile is equal to 467.4 divided by 49,000, which means a mile is equal to almost 1 cent. When you multiply the 3,565 miles I got by this, you will see that the amount that I got was not the $200 that they claim that you're going to get over here. It's actually $34 and, a fraction of a cent. And this is the end of my algebraic equation over here. So and now here's the part that I find the best. Again, so you said I get $200 off. I actually get $35 off or $34 off. And at the end of the day, I have to pay $99 a year in order to have this shitty card. You see where I'm going with this. Now, if I was actually getting $200 off, but there was a $99 fee a year, that would mean that if I keep this card for 1 year, I'm actually ahead of the game. And if I would have to have the card for 3 years to be behind the game. But again, this is assuming that what they told me in their advertising was actually accurate. And when looking at this, you can't ignore the fact that what this says you're getting over here is statement credit. To be clear, card, statement, credit. What this means over here is that this is a statement credit that you could use on anything, not just American Airlines. When you say statement credit on a credit card, I imagine that means I can use this to buy groceries, to pay my electric bill, to buy a monitor from newegg.com or whatever the hell it is that I want to do. When you give me airline miles, this is shit that I need to use with American Airlines. Like, you gave me miles, which means I can only use that to buy flights with this particular vendor rather than giving me a statement credit, which I can use anywhere with this credit card, which again, in my opinion, is false advertising and really shitty. As you can see here in my flight receipt, there is no credit on the flight as well. So not only does the credit card not have a $200 statement credit, but they also did not discount the flight, because some of you may say, Louis, if you check out, I'm sure they'll give you the $200 off on the website. You don't know that they're not doing that because you're not showing us here. I don't want to buy another flight from American Airlines to create this video, because this video will make $17 in monetization, and that's not worth spending $470 on a flight for. However, if you do look over here, the flight that I booked several weeks ago does not have any statement credit. I understand why this is a thing. When you take a look, there are many of these websites with credit or buy now, pay later, where they are actually telling businesses, you should have buy now, pay later. You should have more acceptance of credit, because people spend money on things. They spend more money than they usually would when they can buy now and pay later. As it says from Affirm, again, this is not some random study. This is Affirm's own advertising as a buy now, pay later service. This is their advertising to businesses. High usage. 76% of customers would have delayed or not purchased without Affirm. What this means is that when you give people credit, they buy a lot of random crap that they otherwise couldn't afford, which is why they are willing to give you money up front in order to hopefully collect more money from you in the long term. When you buy stuff you can't afford, fall behind on your payments, and now have a 28% interest rate. This is why I don't deal with debt. This is why I don't. Again, I have a very impulsive personality. I have a personality that is prone to gambles, to just general impulsivity, and I realize that about myself, which is why I do not have a credit card and I do not have debt. There is only one time in my life that I have tried to have debt, and it failed because New York City placed false liens and warrants on my business for taxes that I had already paid over 10 years ago. And as I mentioned in this LA Fitness video, a lot of people were saying in this video, you can't cancel like that. You can't just make a privacy.com card and cancel it, because they're going to send you to collections and ruin your credit. And one of the things that I like about not giving two shits of a fuck about a credit score or credit rating is that these companies don't control me. If you don't have a cancel button on your website and you require that I jump through hoops and go to the post office and certified mail you a fucking letter to cancel because I can't cancel on your website or on the phone, I could simply cancel the privacy.com credit card that I utilized for your service, and you could send me to collections all you want. I don't give two shits of a fuck. You can make my credit score 300 for all I care. It doesn't matter, which is, a nice way to live life. I've tried to avoid being in debt. Again, in the very early days of my business, I did not take out a loan. I worked out of the park. If you want to see the office of Rossman Repair Group back in the early days, it looked like this. Again, was not taking a business loan, was not taking out debt, was just working in the park or in this absolute dumpster fire of an apartment. This is where Mr. Clinton lived over here. This is where motherboards lived over here. This is where the Blackberries I was working on over here. How the fuck I managed to have 5-star reviews back in 2009 and 2008 is beyond me, but I did. If you take a look on Google, you can arrange by oldest and you will see reviews going back to 14 years that were 5 stars. Again, how the fuck I managed that is beyond me, but you get the point. I've tried to avoid debt in my life as often as possible, and not just now that I'm doing better financially, but also in the early days where I was just completely and utterly fucked. This really is not some sort of holier than thou thing. I know myself well enough to know that I have less self-control when it comes to this than probably 99% of the people watching this video, which is why I just opt out of it completely. What they're doing is they're relying on the fact that you're not going to read the terms of service. They're relying on the fact that you're not going to see there's an annual fee. They're relying on the fact that you're not going to do the math and try to look up what these airline miles are actually worth so that you don't realize that what's going on here is false advertising. And again, to be clear, this is not always a scam. Macy's has done this, and it is not a scam. You will actually get back what they say you will get back. Amazon does this. For everything I have against Amazon, when you try to sign up for a credit card using Amazon on checkout, when they say you will get this statement credit, you actually get it. It's only with American Airlines and Citi that A, you do not get the credit that is displayed on the website, but more importantly, B, they will say that you are declined the card, so you will then assume that you do not have a card coming in the mail, and then when you get the card in the mail, they now, again, have the ability to ding you with this bullshit $99 fee that you thought you weren't going to get because you were declined the card. And even if you do decide to keep the card, you are getting $34 up front in exchange for paying $99 at the end of each year. This is one of those ways to decrease the cost up front, but increase the cost in the long term, which at the end of the day is what these blood-sucking fucks look to do, which is why I just go out of my way to avoid credit cards and debt entirely, because I don't want to deal with pieces of shit like this. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and if you are checking out on American Airlines' website, make it a point to not go to sign up for their credit card, because in my opinion, the entire way this is done is just a scam. Again, like, you say I'm declined, you send me a card with a $99 a year fee. You say I'll get $200 back. It's actually $34. And lastly, they say that it's a statement credit. To be clear, statement credit, meaning that I should be able to use this money on anything that I want because it's a statement credit. But in reality, all you've provided is miles, which I can only use with American Airlines. That is a scummy thing to do. And I just don't like these types of business practices. And they seem to be becoming more and more common nowadays, which is something that I think we all need to push back on, or this is going to become common in every single area of business, in every single area of our lives. Many people say, well, if you don't like it, just don't do business with them. Just don't do business with that company. And we're getting to a point where, again, we have to deal with this shit with socks now. With socks. I mean, we're going to get to a point where you need to have your own farm, and you need to have your own mill, and you need to have your own sewing machine, and you need to have your own room where you solder together your own smartphone in order to be able to take part in modern society if you want to deal with a company that doesn't do this type of rapey bullshit. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. That's it for today, and as always, I hope you learned something. And if you're watching, fuck you Citibank, and fuck you American Airlines, where you breathe.